Hello and welcome to Red Sports. I'm Gargi Raut and I'm joined by Boria Mujumdar and Abhijit Deshmukh today. We're going to talk about all the details of Vinesh Phogat's bizarre disqualification from the Paris Olympics for being overweight by close to 100 grams. Boria and Abhijit will give us the lowdown and a detailed account of what happened on the day of the disqualification and the night before. So don't miss the show. Boria, over to you first. Where do you want to start this? Where are you going to start that detailed, account of whatever happened, all the things that happened in order, hour by hour?
First things first. Let's take a quick comment because this is going to be a fascinating. I don't think any of this the detailed lowdown hour by hour of that night is out in the public domain. I don't think it is there. People don't know about it. What exactly transpired? How things went? Where did the Indians fall short? How it was agonizingly sort of painful for Vinesh and all of that. But before that. Quick comments from both of you about last night. I mean, the delay once again. Do you think that this delay is actually not bad for India because they are now going into the depths of the case rather than just dismiss it? Abhijit, your thoughts, and then I'll just
Yeah,
take a
yeah,
comment from
of
Gargi
course.
and we can delve in deep.
Yeah, of course. Burida, as a son of a lawyer and a brother of a judge, I can sense something good happening. I too like have some sense of the law. No, because when things starting, it gets delayed. And Burida, I'm again yesterday when we were live, we were doing live. I say, I won't be surprised that the decision. I mean, it will take some more time. So I wouldn't be again surprised if the 16th date is not changed to other day. But it looks like now with all the mess up UWW has done with Susaki playing the repechage, I think Vinesh Phogat has a strong case now. It's a case where
And there's an internet issue, Gargi. Your thoughts?
Yeah. No, I think what Abhijit is trying to say is something that I agree with as well. I think he's trying to say that because they are delaying so much, maybe this could go in Vinesh's favor. I'm not saying that she'll get the medal, or everything will be changed, but we're still looking at uh, at least 50% of the case going towards her, even if she doesn't get her medal. But this is going to be very historic for the sport itself, for wrestling in the future, and all the players that take part in it in the future as well. Abhijit, yes, you're back.
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
go on.
yeah, yeah. Sorry. So I think the point here is initially, if you would ask me whether Vinesh Phogat being overweight does it count? I think it doesn't count. But now the UWW has themselves proving wrong, because when you are allowing Susaki to play the repechage when Vinesh is not in the finals and she is disqualified, this creates this is a huge point for Vinesh Phogat, because UWW seems to be confused at this point of time. And then, as Burida, you mentioned yesterday, like how the wrestling arena was closed at the village, and the other things. I think this has been, if it's been in the closing statements by her lawyers. I think it looks like it might go in favor of Vinesh Phogat. As an Indian, I would definitely want Vinesh to win a medal, but let's hoping for the best verdict to come out, because there's one point, like it will affect the other sports as well. I think that's the only thing which I'm thinking. If it doesn't go in Vinesh Phogat, that's the only point the judges will be thinking, because it's for the past as well and for the coming future as well. That's where they have to give the decision.
Yeah, it's one judge. I mean, Annabelle Bennett will have to sort of really think that as arbitrator what she's doing. But some other news: Mone Merkel has been appointed the bowling coach of the Indian cricket team. The news was broken by Crick Buzz, and then Jai Shah confirmed it to Rev Sports also in an SMS message that Mone Merkel has indeed been appointed the bowling coach of the Indian cricket team. His appointment starts on the 1st of September. So you will see Moni Markle travel with the team for that all important series to Australia. It's going to be very, very important because that's the pinnacle of the 5 test match series in Australia. India versus Australia Border Gavaskar Trophy. Today actually is 100 days to go. And interestingly, Gargi Raut did a long and beautiful interview with Mone Mokel just about a month back, and we are going to play that interview because his coaching philosophy, his ideology, how Mone Mokel, sort of goes into his coaching. What are his ideas? How does he approach his cricket? Fascinating insights in that conversation with Gargi. Gargi, do you have a clip to play in this
Yeah,
show, or you
go
do?
ahead.
Can we have that clip, please? And then we are going to
Sure.
telecast that interview tomorrow. Gargi Raut in conversation with Mone Mokel. But for the moment, take a look at that clip.
Since you talked about younger players, there's going to be younger kids watching this, wanting to be a fast bowler like you, perhaps. What is your message for them?
Fast bowling. I mean, nowadays it's a tough job, but it's also an exciting job. We see a lot of high scores. We see the ball flying for sixes and fours, and bowlers really being under pressure. But I think it's going to slowly, the new generations are going to figure out ways, to make it all come back. I think it's also, there's going to be a time where, as the true cricket lovers, we can reset and say, okay, back in the day, if you went for 7 runs and over, that is okay. Now, going at 10s and 11s and 12s, that's the new norm. And, just accept that the game has moved forward. Guys are playing with the bat, more attacking, more aggressive style of cricket. And, sort of just forget about all the stats, forget about all the, hype that comes with it. Just go out and perform and give your best. And, from there you'll rise to the top.
Well, you've heard it from Mone, and thank you so much for joining us. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you very much.
So there you go, that interview with Gargi Raut, very interesting conversation. Tomorrow we will play the full interview because you can get a clear sense in that conversation of where Mone Mokel will perhaps take the Indian cricket team, what his coaching philosophy is all about. It's a kind of a deep dive into Mone Mokel's mind. Excellent conversation there, which we will be bringing out tomorrow. Coming to the Vinesh Phogat thing now. This story actually needs to be taken back to Rio. This story, the start of this story actually needs to be taken back. It's like a film. It's like a film, and it's a fascinating story. And the way I want to do this is in conversation with our viewers and Gargi and Abhijit. Now in Rio, when Vinesh was up 1-0 against the China, it was around 11 a.m. in the morning. And that's when the injury happened. When she was being stretchered out, the security person and the person who was taking her out actually said, and I remember this very clearly, that this could be the end of her career. This could be the end of her career. Vinesh was up 1-0. She could have made the semi-final, could have had 2 cracks at a medal, and she was crying out in pain. She was shrieking in pain. I mean, those were painful memories. Vinesh Phogat, and the same day in the evening, Sakshi Malik won her medal. When Vinesh was being taken, now after this, what people don't know, we know that the Brazilian doctor kind of fixed her leg and then she came back to India. When she was taken to the Brazilian hospital, the Brazilian doctors actually said that they might have to amputate the leg. You heard it right. They actually suggested that they might have to amputate Vinesh's leg. She, of course, got alarmed. She got alarmed and she called Dinshaw Padiwala because she knew Dinshaw Padiwala because of her sisters. Dr. Padiwala had operated upon Babita and Geeta and some of the others. All of them have had orthopedic issues. As a result, Vinesh knew about Dr. Padiwala and called him. Dr. Padiwala then got in touch with a Brazilian friend of his, somehow spoke to this doctor in the hospital and said that all you need to do is just reduce the pain and fix it so that she can come back to India, and rest we will handle here. That was the instruction given. Vinesh came back to India. They operated upon Vinesh. That operation was successful. Viren Raskina had tweeted a photograph of that operation and post-operation. And within a couple of years, Vinesh Phogat goes on to win the Commonwealth Gold and the Asian Games Gold in 2018. Now think about the woman's resilience. 2016, this kind of an ACL operation, and then goes on to win the medal, the gold medal in 2018. That's when actually in Rio, the seed was sown where she was desperate and determined to win an Olympic medal. Now, anyone who knows Vinesh, Gargi and Abhijit have met Vinesh multiple times at our conclaves and knows Vinesh well. Anyone who knows Vinesh will say that this is a very different kind of athlete. And yes, I mean, Duleep Trophy teams have been announced, we've put it out there. Coming to then Tokyo, and here's where I would need comments from both my colleagues. Coming to Tokyo, and it is a sequel. So after the 2018 success, it was clearly decreed that Vinesh Phogat was a favorite for Tokyo. She was fighting the 53 kilos. Vinesh Phogat is a favorite for Tokyo. They had built her up. She was training abroad. She had got sparring partners from abroad. She came in direct to Japan to fight from her training base. And all of us thought that Vinesh Phogat, not so much Ravi Dahiya, but rather Vinesh Phogat was a sure shot medal contender.
Yes.
And we were building up to the Vinesh bout. Sadly for us, it was a shocker when Vinesh Phogat did not win and got knocked out in the first round itself, and her opponent did not go on to make the final, so there was no chance of repechage. This is where the weight cut story comes in. Because Vinesh Phogat, for the first time, that's when we got to know that what happened with Vinesh Phogat was a weight cut issue. So she cut her weight to the 53 kilos, cut her weight in the last 48 hours pretty drastically. As a result, did not drink water, did not hydrate, did not eat food, very similar to what happened with Antin Pangal. So when Vinesh went into the bout in Tokyo, she was mentally disorientated. She was not able to focus. She had no clear idea. As a result, should no strength left, she lost out very easily. Now, people thought, Are, this is an upset. How come Vinesh had this? The background is the weight cut. Because of the weight cut, which wasn't able to, they weren't able to manage it proper, and they were actually thinking of the later bouts that Vinesh जैसे athlete तो manage कर लेगी, Vinesh जैसे athlete तो आराम से bout लेकर निकल जाएंगे. हम लोग सेमीफाइनल के बारे में सोचते हैं, वहां पे इसको कैसे रिहाइड्रेट किया जाए उसके बारे में सोचते हैं. They had ignored the first bout and boom, Vinesh Phogat lost out on that bout because of being mentally disorientated. And the result of that was again the weight cut. As a result of this weight cut being so significant, when this time round she was with sort of paired with Susaki, they knew that whatever they do after making weight on day one, whatever happens, Vinesh cannot be dehydrated and cannot be lethargic and cannot lack in strength when she goes into the bout with Susaki. Okay? Gargi, have you watched that bout with Susaki? I'm sure you have. I'm sure you have. Tell me, when Vinesh pushes Susaki with 40 seconds to go and gets her down with those 2 points, 2 plus, and then runs towards her coach with arms up, what was your thought? Did you at any point feel that here is a lady who is lacking in strength, or you seemed, she's in her best physical shape?
No, I think at some point that Vinesh had already been, through a lot, and she was, because the way that she was crying after that match ended, you could tell that something heavy was going on, and something we didn't know anything by that time. We did not know that she was going through all this, that she hadn't had a drop of water, she wasn't eating anything, and you could tell actually. And that picture of her on the mat, it went viral. But now when we think of it, it's such a monumental, I think, moment, because now we realize what all was happening in the backdrop. And that's
Correct.
why I think she was so desperate to win that match, because she
Correct.
must have been thinking, I'm doing all this, I'm starving myself, I'm not having any water, and if I lose this, then it's for nothing. Then I did all this for nothing. I think it's a very heartbreaking thing now that we think back on all those things that we thought were oh so great, such a picturesque moment, or this, you could make a movie out of this moment. But now you think of it, it's really heartbreaking. Abhijit,
Somebody is writing that because of Vinesh, the others weren't attended. Absolute bull.
what?
Absolute bull, because Vinesh had her own physio and own nutritionist. The Indian team had a separate physio and nutritionist, so they had nothing to do with Vinesh. So the question of Vinesh should be banned because of the other women wrestlers got attended by the nutritionist in physio is total cock and bull. So let's not talk complete nonsense here. Abhijit, your thoughts on that Susaki bout and what that meant to Vinesh before I continue with the story.
Burida, I like to go to 2018 Asian Games before I say something. You spoke about how Vinesh lost to the Chinese wrestler in Rio. I mean, her leg was, was twisted. At 2018 Asian Games, her first match was against the same Chinese opponent, and Vinesh defeated her and went on to become the first Indian female wrestler in the history of India to win a gold at the Asian Games. That's Vinesh for you. She is the first Indian wrestler, female wrestler, to win gold at the Asian Games. Now, at the Paris Olympics, to be honest, I was not expecting Vinesh to upset Susaki, and we were like talking about, okay, the draw that has come might be a blessing in disguise because Vinesh might, go for a repechage. But imagine the Susaki has never lost any match in the international event, and then if someone could have defeated, it was only Vinesh, and she did that. And when we saw that match, I mean, which she reached the finals, we had such a good feeling, and because all what has happened with Vinesh, and to reach Olympics itself was a miracle. The second miracle was she defeated Susaki, who was never lost in her life at the international stage. And third, now she has reached the finals, and we were thinking, Buddha, you and I were thinking that possibly a gold, because remember we were at the
Let
Neeraj
me stop
Chopra's.
there. There was a fourth miracle. The fourth
Yeah,
miracle
yeah,
was when she decided to compete in the 50 kilos.
yep,
That's when she got injured again, and
yep,
they tried to see if she can manage the injury and go. And this was in the other knee where she had that ACL in Rio.
yep,
And actually, Dr. Padiwala once again had to fix a ligament and another
yes,
thing in her leg after she decided to fight in the 50 kilos. So she also had an operation there. So she
yep,
had a surgical procedure there, which is miracle
yep,
number 4.
yep.
After that, she managed to go to Paris. Okay, now let's get to Act 1, Scene 2 of what happened. And I'll take comments from both Gargi and Abhijit again. So after she beat, so Susaki she beaten. Here comes the catch. The two bouts between the pre-quarter final and the quarter final has a difference of only 45 to 50 minutes. That's what it is. 45 to 50 minutes is what one wrestler gets. After a bout, you have to be hydrated. Now, you can't just say, boss, I will not do anything. I will not even sip water. I will not have any nutrition. Because then clearly, after you've expended so much energy like Vinesh had done in that bout against Susaki, she would be lethargic for the next bout. So she had to be hydrated. Had she lost to Susaki, she would not have repechage until the next morning because Susaki had to go on to play the final. So the whole of that day, Vinesh would not need any further hydration or anything. All she would have to do is wait to see if she made the repechage, and she would do the weight next morning without adding any further hydration or nutrition into her body or any further food intake. But now she has beaten Susaki. She has to have more nutrition and hydration a little bit, but that little bit becomes a lot. She had to have before bout number 2. And then again in the evening, you are fighting 3 bouts in one day ahead of the match against Guzman Lopez. Now, Gargi, you had gone to Mira and seen her training. Think about the fact that you are actually having to play 3 bouts of 6 minutes of high intensity within a span of 7-8 hours. Her initial bout was 11:30 Paris, second bout 12:30 Paris, third bout 6:30 p.m. Paris. So you're actually talking about 3 bouts within a span of 7.5-8 hours. Now tell me, if you have to fight those 3 bouts, do you need basic hydration and basic nutrition? Yes or no? Tell me.
Of course you do. Of course you do. And I think we were talking about this in the last show as well, that shouldn't UWW, if you're going to, place the matches in such a short duration of times, not only one bout, three bouts in a single day within hours of each other, shouldn't you have some kind of exception for that? Because obviously the wrestler is going to, drink some fluids throughout the match. How will she or he, even if there's a male athlete that goes through this, I don't know how are they supposed to uh, it's just absurd when you think about it, because obviously they will have hydration, they will have a lot of fluid throughout the match, or how will they fight? And this is not, you know uh, this is not a game where you can maybe rest for a minute in the game or something like that. This is an extremely physical game where you need every ounce of your energy. So how can UWW not take this in consideration when they're at least scheduling the matches? When you schedule the matches, at least you can, and even if you're not scheduling the matches, you're having something like three bouts in a matter of hours, then you should at least have some exception, maybe a 1 kg allowance when it comes to it. Because even a little bit of water will get that sort of weight up.
Abhijit, the other thing is this whole 2 kg allowance thing. It is pretty unclear. Huh? It is pretty unclear because they have
Yes,
not
yes.
specified that it is not applicable to the Olympic
You,
Games. They have kept a clear gray area there.
yeah,
And the previous rules of 21 and 22, which are being put out there in the public domain, the rules were actually changed in 23.
yep.
Rules were actually changed in 23, and there is a clear gray area there whether it is applicable to which competition. Anyway, we will go into that later. Abhijit, you were there for the semi-final. As Gargi said, in the next 1 minute, give my viewers a sense of the kind of physicality you saw Vinesh in that semi-final when she won 5-0 against that Cuban. It was a bout of complete dominance. Tell me about it, and then I will go into the next part as to what happened into that night, because that's the story that we promised our viewers.
So I think it was such a big stage, and when Vinesh what was in that on the mat, you know, at one point of time you can see her mentally very fit, mindset was very strong, but she was also physically, very looks like she was not having that kind of the proper meals or the intake liquid she did, but uh, because she has played so many two bouts earlier in the day, and then her she was confirmed that she'll at least play one more match because she was in the semi-final. Even though if she would have lost that semi-final match, she would have played the repechage. So at the back of mind, yes, of course she must have done all the way, and but it looks like she know that she's gonna win, but at the same time the amount of whatever fluid or the meal she had was itself wasn't sufficient, but from the mindset it looks like she was extremely strong, and when she dominated the game winning 5-0, it just showed how a world class finish was. But I think what really uh, you know was that she played the two matches in the day against Susaki. The first match itself took a lot of her energy, and after that you need a good amount of, I mean, when we walk in Paris in such a hot conditions, when we just walk from about 500 meters or 1 kilometer, we need to dehydrate it. Imagine for the athletes, they're playing for the life, and they need a lot of dehydration, food, something. And at this point, you know I'm not sure what exactly went R&R, but Purida, you know it, but it was clearly looking like Vinesh had a very less kind of thing during after her second bout, after her first out, and the way she won that match, dominated the Cuban opponent, was simply incredible.
Yeah, so when you dominate like that, Abhijit and Gargi, now clearly the weight thing was playing in her mind.
Yep.
Because within moments of finishing that, and she was running through the mix zone, she was literally running away. She was running because she was going in to check her weight. And she told us, I'm going in for weight. मैं weight करने जा रही हूँ. So clearly the weight thing was in her mind from that point. Now, it was 7:45 p.m. Paris time, and Vinesh is an absolute champion. Absolute champion. कुछ भी आप कहो, she's an absolute champion. She's a fighter par excellence. She has played an Olympic semi-final 15 minutes back. She went into her weight, did the weight which was 52.7 at that point. So it had increased from 49.9 to 52.7 during the course of the 3 bouts and during the course of the day, because of the recovery meal, because of the hydration, because of the nutrition. So to clarify that again, the weight that morning was 49.9. By 8 p.m. that night, when the weight was taken in the arena, it was 52.7. And that's the 2.8 kilos that had been added. And the champion that she is, she did not waste a minute, got into a sauna suit, and started sparring with her coach right there at the arena between 8 p.m. and 9 p.m. Why? Because she knew that if she went to the village, then she got the next bus around 8:30 or 9 o'clock, 8:30. It will take about an hour. By the time she reaches the athletes village and went into the wrestling arena in the village, it would get shut at 10 p.m. So she had a clear notion that I have to reduce this weight. Her coach knew she has to reduce this weight. And they entered into that wrestling arena training area where they sparred for close to an hour after she had fought an Olympic semi-final with Vinesh in a sauna suit. That started the process of that night. So, Olympic semi-final, no rest, no food, no water, 15 minutes into a sauna suit, and straight into sparring with her coach for an hour to get weight reduced. Gargi Rao, thoughts?
What do you even say? I mean, when you think back on all this, everything that she did throughout the night, it was, she tried her best. And should we take a few comments? We have a lot of comments. Yeah. Tanmay Saha is Morne bowling coach confirmed. Yes, he's confirmed. Okay. Advaita is saying we can take this. Sportsman is not above sports. I said the same when due to Virat's tantrums, Kumble was chucked out. We'll say the same about Vinesh, the political stooge. What do you say? What do you say to this?
Nothing. Whoever is commenting knows nothing about sports, so all I will say is nothing. This is a motivated comment. If this continues, she's a troll or he's a troll, block him or her, because not deservingly a fan here, or even somebody who understands sport one bit, talking complete rubbish. So don't take such comments with any seriousness.
Okay, Kishore Patel is asking a nice question. Will Paralympic athletes in 2024 repeat and win more than previous Paralympics? Yes, both nodding, both Abhijit and
Okay,
Boria.
so in London, we had one medal from the Paralympics in the form of SN Girisha. One. In Rio, the number of athletes that India sent was 19, and India won 4 medals. Devendra Jhajaria, Deepa Malik, Mariappan Thangavelu, Varun Bhatti. Varun and Mariappan in the high jump, 1.89 for Mariappan, 4.61 meters for Deepa Malik, and Devendra Jhajaria winning the javelin gold with a world record throw. 4 medals in Rio, 19 athletes. Fast forward to Tokyo, 54 athletes, 19 medals. 19 medals, fantastic performance, turnaround games. This time round, today we have put it out, 84 athletes. We were originally told 87 4 days back. Unfortunately, Pramod Bhagat misses out, and that is a sure medal gone. But 84 athletes, my prediction, anywhere between 25 and 30 medals. Hold it to me. 25 to 30 medals this time round, including multiple gold medals for the Indian Paralympic contingent and a world record throw from Sumit Until. So prediction 25 to 30, best ever Paralympic performance, multiple gold medals, and of course a world record throw from Sumit Until, possible world record from some others like Avani Lekhara also. From Yogesh Kathunia, I'm expecting a serious effort. From Manasi Joshi, I'm expecting something fantastic. So all said and done, the best Paralympic performance. Gargi, if you want to take another question, take it before I go into the next part of the story.
Okay, let's see. Vinay is asking, Boria, please tell us how Article 7 of UWW was not broken during the Olympics trials. Who were the suggested staff by IOA and who eventually went? You're on mute.
This has been doing the rounds for a while. The 50 kilogram qualification has been doing the rounds for a while. Vinesh had qualified in that category and she represented India. So this question of trying to defame an athlete based on a trial, this is several months back. The IOA and the government of India took cognizance of it. She was allowed to participate. Thereafter, she went into the Olympic trials and won the Olympic trials fair and square. And when she went into the Olympic trials, she was 50 kilograms. When she went into the Spanish Grand Prix and then the Olympic Games, on day one, she was 49.9 kilograms. So there is no question. Don't try to defame Vinesh based on this. It doesn't work. It just doesn't work. So let's not. I mean, this is again something that I understand. There are these politically motivated questions. Vinesh is this, Vinesh is that. It is not relevant. So Vinesh qualified for the Olympic Games fair and square and is a champion of the highest order. Period.
Yeah, I think Boria now. I think that's enough comments for now. You can
Okay.
continue.
So
Yeah.
so at 10 p.m. when they reached when they reached the village, Vinesh did not have dinner, did not have anything, did not have a morsel to eat. All she did was shower and quickly get back to the training range within half an hour. And this time round, because the wrestling arena was shut, they first tried the sauna. The sauna was also shut at that point in time and would only open at 5 a.m. Gagan Narang tried his best to get the sauna opened early and she went into the gym. She went into the gym and there were some others because everybody was trying to motivate her. They were trying to motivate her to get into doing skipping, to do jogging, to do running, to do all of that stuff, cycling, so that she could reduce weight by getting the sweat out. Now, as I said last night, in that gym, and she had reached the village. Take the times: 8 o'clock bout finishes, starts training, 9 p.m., 9:15 left for village, 10 p.m. maximum 30-40 minutes. Around 11 p.m. comes to the gym and starts to train. Now this is one girl who has fought 3 bouts and has already sparred 1 hour with the coach. Try and do it once and you will know what we are talking about. 11 p.m. she comes to the gym and starts cycling, starts jogging, starts doing everything, you know everything. So let's take this question. Ananda Subramaniam, there's a chat which says UWW not argue. Yeah, everybody had the same rules. Now the point is UWW flouted its own rules by giving Susaki the repechage. So there is a confusion in the UWW rules. Of course, UWW will say that, but Ananda Subramaniam, UWW by allowing Susaki to fight has broken its own rules. Even if they show bylaws, the rules will have confusion because how can you have a bylaw? Because if I'm somebody who's I lost to Guzman Lopez, who eventually made the final. Now I deservingly should play the repechage because that's according to the UWW rules. Why should I be deprived when Vinesh Phogat was disqualified? So there are multiple rules within rules and complexities that have now resulted because of the UWW's confusion. Ankan Kar, WI chief points fingers at wrestlers protest for reason why India lost many medals in. Happy birthday in advance, Gargi, absolutely. But WI chief points fingers at wrestlers protest for reason why. Firstly, you know, let's put it this way: the wrestlers protested for rights. Vinesh protested for rights. And if anyone points fingers, let's not even get into this. Sanjay Singh was elected. Sanjay Singh is now the president of WFI. And I think the wrestlers and the body, if Indian wrestling has to move forward, they can't operate. The wrestlers can't operate in a silo, and the federation can't operate in a silo. Whatever has happened, the photographs of wrestlers being dragged on the streets of Delhi, and you know our stand on that, was disgusting. Was disgusting to see. No debate. We spoke out then, we speak out now. But going forward, the wrestling federation and the athlete has to work hand in hand. Otherwise, no sport can ever progress in a country. It is as simple as that. You cannot operate in a silo. And Gargi's birthday, yes, absolutely, we will. Gargi is on leave tomorrow, otherwise we would have celebrated it on a show as well. Coming back to the story. Now
Yes.
think what was going on. This is continuing between 11 p.m. and 2:30 a.m. in the morning. 3.5 hours. This lady is on a bike, on a cycle. She is jogging. She is running. She is trying to do everything in that gym exercise to reduce weight. Now, this is, think of the nature. From 8 o'clock from sparring to 2:30 a.m. in the morning, 3.5 hours, total of 6.5 hours after fighting 3 bouts, no food, no water between 8 p.m. and 2 a.m. This is what this athlete is trying to do. At around, and by the time around 12 midnight, even then her coaches was pretty satisfied that they should be able to cut weight. From what I know, they were continuously saying that we should be able to manage, we should be able to manage. At this point in time also, this is not beyond us. That's what I've been repeatedly told. And the chef de mission, the deputy chef de mission, the medical team, everyone was there trying to encourage her, and they were with her. By the way, for the air condition, they switched the AC off. They requested the Paris organizers. They opened the windows, and as Abhijit will tell you, that 6th and 7th of August was very warm, very, very warm in Paris. So it was hot. So they tried to get the natural air into the gym, so that when Vinesh exercised, a lot of sweat came out and she was able to reduce that weight. This was continuing between 11 p.m. and 2:30 a.m. in the morning. 11 p.m. and 2:30 a.m. in the morning on 6th and 7th, 6th night and 7th morning. Abhijit, someone who has won 3 bouts and then 6 hours on the trot doing this to reduce 2.7 kilos. Human?
No, no, she's not human. I mean, I would need something to get hydrated. To wrestle 3 bouts, 3 top wrestler beating Susaki. You don't eat, you don't take a sip of water. You spar, then you go back to the gym. I think this is inhuman. I've never seen an athlete doing these things. I mean, come on, Bureda, you know how hot it was. Just to let you know, our viewers, uh, when we were sleeping in the night, it was so hot that we have to actually set up an alarm to dehydrate ourselves. We have set up actually an alarm at 2 a.m. I used to wake up, drink some water, and go back, because again we have another big day. Imagine this is happening to a wrestler. And seriously, what
Rohan
Bureda just
actually went out for a walk, Gargi, at 3 a.m. in the morning one day because he couldn't sleep because of the heat.
yep. And that too, we had 2 tower fans in our room. That too, when we had 2 towers, we have actually, it was so hot, like, we have to open all the windows. We actually, drink a lot of water, and then still we used to feel hot. Imagine how tough it was for Vinesh. Simply unbelievable stuff from
I
Vinesh.
mean, normal people take around 2 months to lose that kind of weight.
Yeah.
And she lost it in one night. So you can imagine the things that she did throughout the night. I mean, you
Now,
only told
let
us
us
that
continue. Let us
yeah.
continue because we have to finish in 15 minutes. But there are some more questions. Gargi, there was this Cuban wrestler said she don't want to share her medal or whatever, something like that. Boria said your view. It is not even, she has no say. Nobody has asked Guzman Lopez about whether she wants to share or not. It is the IOC's call, the CAS's call. If they find merit in the case, according to me, she did not even merit to play the final. What is she talking about? She had lost the semi-final fair and square. So if I say that she did not even merit to play the final, so this is not even a question that anyone can ask her or should ask her. It is the decision of the arbitrator. It is the decision of the International Olympic Committee and the Court of Arbitration in Sport. That's it. There's some other questions about some other media organizations supporting Vinesh or not supporting Vinesh. Let's not bring other media organizations in. We have supported sport. We will support athletes, and we will continue to support athletes all through. Some of the organizations you mention are my past organizations. I will not even mention a word about any other organization here. Will the weight categories for each wrestler be decided carefully going forward? It is carefully decided. I mean, coaches take Nisha Dahiya. Nisha was supposed to play the 65, then brought down to 62. Then they evaluated that, saying no, 62 doesn't work, and they bumped her up to 68. Vinesh, from 53 to 50, they even considered 57. So it is carefully evaluated, Praveen. So it's not as if it's not. Okay, coming back. 2 a.m., we have given you the story tip. Now from 2:30 onwards, the first sense of alarm crept in. And that's when they were like, this girl is not sweating the amount that she actually should sweat. They asked her, can you push more? Can you run more? Can you skip more? Can you do this more? By that time, she was starting to get tired. She was physically starting to get tired. And they tried that for another hour or so. And they tried to start rubbing her like this physically. So if I start rubbing my hands on, say, Gargi's hands or Abhijit's hands, and they start doing externally to their legs, after a point, sweat will come out. If it's a hot room and I keep rubbing your hands like this, try it out, you will see externally sweat will come out. So they tried that technique with Vinesh for some time externally when she got tired to try and see if they could get sweat to come out and reduce weight. They tried that. Close to about 4 a.m., when this technique had also been tried, she was physically exhausted, no sweat was coming out, they actually started panicking. They realized that this girl has reached the very threshold where she has no water left in the body, hardly any hydration, no food, no water, no nothing. How do we push her more? And I'm glad that the Indians actually took the correct medical call of not doing stupid things and pushing her further into doing extreme things. I've heard ridiculously extreme things being done by wrestlers, blood taking out, cutting off a finger, but doing nonsense. No life, no medal is even close to a human life or emotional trauma. So the Indians took the absolute correct call that nothing like that. Sense prevailed. Sense prevailed, nothing like that. That's when they realized that this is now a Herculean challenge. Gagan Narang rushed to the sauna center, got the sauna center to open a little earlier so that Vinesh Phogat could go there and do the sauna. And that was the final attempt that let's cut this last bit out. At about 5 o'clock, 5:30, when they were doing that, finally around, and by this time, by the way, they had brought a same machine. They had got the same machine that was being used in the vein, and they were simulating that multiple times intermittently, checking her weight. It was coming down, but not as fast as they would have liked or as they would have predicted. They had calculated 1.5 kilos. It had gone up to 2.7. They had brought it down gradually to 2 plus. So they still had hope, but a glimmer of hope. At about 6 a.m. in the morning, when everything was done, that is when they were desperate. That's when they even cut out parts of her clothes. They cut out parts of her clothes wherever they could so that a few grams went. They cut out parts of her hair so that a few grams went. Vinesh, they even considered shaving off her full hair. But Vinesh opposed that, saying that is not acceptable in her village, and she did not. And it's so understandable. Imagine a woman being told that you shave off her full hair because you have to go in for a weigh. How inhuman can that be? So they even thought about it. She even gave that a thought. This was happening around 6 a.m. in the morning. Cutting off clothes, cutting off her hair to reduce those few grams. At that point, she was 200 grams over. She was just 200 grams over. With the cutting of clothes, with the cutting of hair, they managed a few more grams, and they thought we will get her to somehow jog or sprint or run or do something like that into the weighing in. And they actually tried to do that. They tried to do that. When she finally went in, the Indian contingent was literally praying that somehow, somewhere, we know these machines, 100, 200 grams get adjusted. Because of the haircut, because of the clothes cut, 100 grams was adjusted, but the final 100 grams, Gargi, unfortunately could not be done. When Vinesh came out, and my source tells me, you should have seen her face. Her world had collapsed. Here was a human skeleton, no water, no food, no nothing. Olympic dream shattered because 100 grams overweight. The Indians had to take a call immediately at that point. How do we protect this woman? How do we protect the human being and the athlete? And the only way they could have done that was put her on intravenous fluids, some IV fluids, and that's why she was taken to the polyclinic. That is why she was taken to the polyclinic. She was admitted there. The fluids were administered. They gave her hydration. And some hours later, when they did the blood test, her parameters were normal. And within a few hours, she was released from the polyclinic. Can you imagine this night, Abhijit Deshmukh and Gargi Rao?
No, no, never in the history of, not only India, never in the history of any athlete, it might have happened in the world. I mean, what you just explained, Burida, just gave us actually, like, we felt like we were there. And what happened? I remember Abhinav Bindra met her the next day, if I'm not wrong, Vinesh, and he posted the photo. You can see her eyes, how even the next day she was feeling. I'm sure.
Her eyes were swollen.
Yeah, it was like, an athlete, it takes so much, and especially in the case of Vinesh, who has been on the streets fighting against, against few ban in the wrestling federation, and to reach at this level, and when you're there winning a medal, probably a gold, and you don't finish in the final, I think I haven't seen such thing. And sometimes I was actually talking this to Burida, is it really a bad dream that we are living? Is it a real even as well? That's what my thoughts were like for first 2 days. And then what you just explained, Burda, just shows how much Vinesh and her team has given her best to try to reduce weight. I think probably a story for courage and whatnot. Hats off to Vinesh, and even whatever is the verdict comes out, medal or no medal, you're an absolute legend for us. You're a champion athlete. We're always with you.
There are some questions about somebody saying, one of my juniors from a past organization saying that the judge asked Vinesh whether she would like to share the silver medal. This is not him saying yesterday. This has been doing rounds in a media group 5 days back. And in that group, the other thing that was doing the rounds was that should Vinesh want the report confidentially or should she want it publicly? There are 3 points that are doing the rounds. And may I just say one thing? They are laughable. That is the truth. They are laughable. So if any journalist is saying this in the public domain, good luck to them. The questions that were asked by the arbitrator had nothing to do with all this. Okay? Nothing remotely. So that is the truth. Frankly, the questions that were asked were of such serious nature that actually that is the when the Indians started thinking that this case could just go in their favor. And these were the extra questions that were asked on the Sunday when the verdict was first pushed back. So to suggest all this, that the Cuban will be asked and Vinesh will be asked confidentially, the verdict should come out or privately and all this has been doing the rounds in media groups 5 days back. So we all know what is doing the rounds and what is the truth and what is not. Let's not go by such reporting. And my own point is now, why did we also present the night's things to you? Is this simply a case of rules? Should the rules be relooked at for the sake of the sport and for human beings fighting this sport? Is there something called Olympic Charter, Olympic values, Olympic spirit? And do these rules, which pushes human bodies to the extreme, not just Vinesh, but everyone else, are these rules fair? Should these rules now be relooked at in the light of the Vinesh Phogat controversy? That's the moot point. And according to me, If the rules get changed, I think Vinesh would have achieved a far bigger goal than simply the silver medal. Thoughts on it, Gargi, Abhijit, before we close the show?
Abhijit?
Yeah, I think the case is against UWW and the IOC. I think I'll put the Paris organization also in the same frame, because how can you shut the wrestling arena? I mean, shouldn't that be in the village? It shouldn't be like a 24 hours available to wrestlers. Shouldn't that be the case? Why
First
was
aid
wrestling?
centers were shut, Abhijit. What are we talking about? First aid centers were shut.
I mean, I remember Boreda got a cut, a good heavy cut at the when Neeraj qualification was going on. Me, Boreda, Sharmishtadi, Trisha, Rohan, five actually we went to first aid, which was exactly near the U stand. I remember that it was a big first aid center, and no one was there. Imagine, like, if you don't get a basic health treatment for a cut or something. And I remember Boreda was shouting out when we applied. Um, it was like a not exactly like a tissue paper. It was a wipe. Boreda was, he was like shouting because you can feel how big painful it was. That things are not done, and we were at several venue media center at all the venues. There were so many basic facilities were not available. We saw the athletes were not having food in the village, and so much of queuing time. I mean,
Best thing, Abhijit, best thing. There was one hotel, Gargi, in Chateau. One, okay,
Yeah,
where people could stay. Rohan and Abhijit go to that hotel. They went to the hotel after the events finished for that particular day, and there was nobody. So they're messaging me saying, "Give us the reservation number." So I sent them the booking, I sent them the reservation number, I sent them my payment details. It was booked in my name. So the Rev Sports team had everything. Now they are telling me there is a notice in the hotel. It's an IOC accredited hotel, by the way,
yep,
which was given to us
yep,
by the IOC for the media.
yep.
That there is a notice on the door saying between 11 a.m. and 5:30 p.m. there will be nobody there in the hotel to check anyone in. Yeah,
And
that's the
then
case.
there's a
It's unbelievable. It is unbelievable. So there are several such things.
My goodness, what do you even say? What do you even say to that? But yeah, I think when we talk about this verdict, again, I don't think this will go completely in favor of Vinesh. I think still the chances for a medal are pretty low. But I think when we talk about the significance of this verdict, it's going to be huge, because this will change. This is going to be a watershed moment when it comes to wrestling, when it comes to the laws, the weigh-ins, the weight categories. It is going to be a very, very important verdict for. I just got distracted by this comment by Tuk Tuk saying, "Are you guys live, or is this recorded?" This is live. We are
live.
live. But yes, a watershed moment in wrestling, and this is going to be very important, and it's going to be talked about for a long, long time. And again, this is like a lot of people are pointing out in the comments that this is a case of rules versus spirit. And sometimes the spirit takes precedence, and when you think about the humanitarian side of this case, I think we should also think about athletes as humans. And there's a lot to talk about still. But Boya, I think
I just like to ask Burida one question here. Burida, if I'm not wrong, this is your fourth or fifth Olympics? Paris?
Yeah.
Fifth. I have done three. Paris has been the worst Olympics so far. I've seen better thing organized at the Rio. During the pandemic time, Tokyo did splendid work. Out. What are your thoughts on the Paris one? Do you think it's probably stands at the lowest of the Olympics you have covered in comparison to all the organizing thing and everything?
See, it was some basics were not there, and that is a problem.
Yep.
Why do I book a media hotel? Because I'll get media transport.
Yep.
There was no media transport. We were walking 20 minutes every day to get to the metro station, 20 minutes back. We were actually walking 7, 8, 9, 10 kilometers every day.
Yes.
There was no media transport. There was no Media centers did not have even basic tea, coffee most occasions. Did not. Some basics were actually lacking. That is a fact. In
Transport is
trying to
also
cost
very.
cut, they had taken it to such a level. Volunteers were just not there. There were no volunteers. Nobody was speaking the language. So when I see the plight of Vinesh Phogat, by the way, think of this. This takes the cake. Now, on the way back, Shormishta and I, we went to the airport around, and Abhijit thankfully told us carry your accred. We went to the airport about 8:45 p.m., 8:45 a.m. for a 11:15 flight. We were checking in Emirates business class. In a business class queue, you generally take what, 10 minutes, 15 minutes? It took us 1 hour, 10 minutes in the business class queue. 1 hour, 10. And we were baffled. By the way, there were 5 people. Nothing. It was not as if it was crowded. No, it wasn't. First class, business class, platinum line, there are no people. It took us 1 hour, 10 minutes. Now, so we go into security, which is called the access one lane for Olympic accreds and business and first. All of a sudden, they said, my bag, because I have the power banks and these wires and plugs, it oftentimes gets extra checked. So it went there. Now they brought out these kind of stickers which they are putting into the bag to check if anything is illegal and all that. Now, that sticker, firstly, I waited for another 15-20 minutes. They bring the sticker out, they put that sticker into the bag. Obviously, nothing happened, and now they have to put it into a machine to see if it turns green. Here's the fun, Gargi. This is a business class line with athletes, with VIPs, and with others. They have tried it in 6 of these machines, not one worked. The security guy who was checking got completely frustrated, and he started slamming in things. And we are like standing there because none of these machines are working. Everything is yellow. None of this is working. I'm looking at Shomishta. Shomishta is looking at me. It was bizarre. It was absolutely bizarre.
Even the transport at several venues, we didn't had buses arriving like for an hour. I remember one of our
So
colleagues.
the transport volunteer told us, "ये bus नहीं आएगा, आप metro से निकल जाओ."
Yeah, imagine we at the athletics when Neeraj won silver medal, all of us had to take a cab that night. Why wasn't the? I mean, just thought like, imagine there will be interviews that will be happening. It will late. We have to file copies, and there was no bus after 1:30 a.m. From Athletic Stadium to the main press center. This is a common thing that has happened, and I think I pointed out this thing that for a fans it was even difficult. I remember at you know in the metro stations you normally have the station names, and then you just have a sign of where it says La Chapel Stadium. But what is La Chapel Stadium? This is the basic thing. No one would understand. There's not an announcement that would say, okay, get down here for the badminton venue. There's no sign where it would say that, okay, this is the venue for badminton. It's just a La Chapel and it is across the Paris. So fans have lost precious time as well. So this is like the basic things is to have the symbols, the announcement, get down here for this thing. Buredan, you and me were there at the FIFA World Cup. At every station where was the a stadium, they would whistle get down here for this one. So this is how it was. And then Paris being such, they say France is a first what do you call that, first generation country, what I exactly don't know the name for it, and being a developed country, I think if I would have been a part of that team that is fighting for Vinesh, I would have involved the Paris organizers in the name along with UWW and IFC.
You guys are not the only people talking about how disappointing the Paris Olympics has been. Even athletes, fans, other media
I
people
just,
have spoken
sorry,
about.
Gargi, just like to add, now the Paris Paralympics will start. I hope our athletes don't suffer. Not only our athletes, the athletes from the other countries also don't suffer, because for organizing a Paralympics is even tougher than Olympics. That's my understanding. I hope all the basic thing that's required for the Paralympians, it's there.
Absolutely.
I hope no other no other surprises or no other basic things
This
are.
is a very important point. If the ramps are not there, if the toilets are
Yeah,
not
yeah,
proper, if the
yeah,
basics
yeah,
are not there for the
yeah,
Paralympians, this will be an issue, Gargi,
yeah,
and we
yeah,
will build it to Paralympics big time.
yeah.
And once again, and today, by the way, I've today convinced Shormishta to come again because the same. I mean, we will go Paralympics full on, full hog. Trisha, Rohan, myself, Shormishta, Vijay, we will do it full on. You guys at the back end, we will do Paralympics with the same verve and same passion that we did the Olympic Games. And if the basics are not there for the Paralympic athletes, it will be a shocker.
Yeah.
I think
Okay,
it's a
so
good
we'll
question
take
by Joe. Joe has
Joshua.
हाँ ये
yeah.
फाइनल ये ले लो ये लेके खत्म करो.
Yes, since the rule for the second day weigh-in was in place from only the last Olympics, isn't this the first instance of a confirmed medal being lost?
So at last Olympic, there wasn't a rule of weighing for the both the days. It was only the
Just
last year it was announced. At Tokyo, yes, the medal bouts were happening on the next day, but the weighing happened only on the first day. So this is the first time in the Olympics that the weighing are happening on both the days. So again,
yeah.
that could be another vital point. I think if that's been submitted in the closing comments, I think that's a very good point that can get medal for Vinesh.
Yes. Well, I think we can end the show now. We've given all the details on what has happened, and we've also discussed a lot of other things as well. So, thank you so much, Abhijit and Boria, for joining. Boria, thank you for giving us all the details on what happened that day. And to everyone watching, stay tuned to Rev Sports. We still have the Paralympics to look forward to. So, don't go just yet. Stay
No,
tuned
no,
and
Paralympics